Welcome to episode 1 of Back and Forth. We're so excited. We're sitting with lead pastor Jason Ishmael. We're so glad that you're here. You did a great message for Ask episode 1. You talked about hallowed be your name. What does hallowed mean?
Yeah, you think about, you're Skylar White, right?
Sometimes.
You still Skylar White?
Yeah.
Stony Point campus pastor, for those of you that don't know him.
Yeah.
I think about the notion of the hallowed name of the Father. So hallowed is holy, it's separate, it's set apart, it's glorified, it's greater.
Yeah.
I mean, you recognize who you're talking to, right? Hallowed is his name.
But sometimes I separate my kids when they're in trouble. I don't know if you put all your kids together when they're in trouble, but what does it mean to be separate? What is like hallowed to separate? Like what is that? Like what does that really mean?
He's in a class to himself, right? You think about that. I think you look throughout the Old Testament and there are no other gods before him. That's the command, right?
Right.
He doesn't have another god to compare himself to.
Right.
He's not better than the other gods. There aren't other gods. It's just him.
Right.
Hallowed is his name, separate, different class to himself.
Yeah. And we all, probably most of us know our dad's name. Sometimes it's just dad, sometimes it's more. My daughter is in this phase, and I don't like it. She goes, Skylar, she's so sassy. It makes me so frustrated. And I asked Jason one day, what do you do when your kids won't call you dad? And Jason goes, I look at them straight in the eye and say, only a few people get to call me dad, and you are one of them, and you will.
No, I say you get to. I never tell them you will call me. I always say that, and I'm always a bit tongue-in-cheek with them. You get to call me dad, because you don't get to call me dad.
I call you boo-boo.
You could.
Just a heads up, it didn't work with my daughter. But I love, you talk about the name of God is Yahweh. Can you explain Yahweh?
Man, the name Yahweh, even in Jewish culture, you go all the way back to the Old Testament, they were hesitant to say his name. Mm-hmm. You couldn't even speak Yahweh, and it's his name that he gives for himself. It literally means I am. YHWH is what we get, sort of in modern letters. Jehovah is the same word in the Old Testament, and what I love about Jehovah or Yahweh is that it's just breath sounds.
Yeah.
Yahweh, Yehovah, it's just breathing. I mean, think about it. To say, hey, what's your name? And he just can breathe and proclaim his name. That puts us in an interesting place, right?
Yeah.
I mean, here you are breathing. Mm-hmm. It's impossible not to even speak the name, to breathe the name, even the thing that he put in us. We talked about this, the way that we came into existence. You know, God reaches down, he touches the dirt, he forms and fashions a man in his image and likeness. But it's the breath of God that fills up man's lungs and makes him alive. I mean, think about it. Even the name of God to inhabit him, for him to continue to breathe all of his days. I mean, I think it makes important what we do with our breath, how important our breath is. Obviously, you can't live without your breath. But I mean, even to recognize that I'm breathing his name all the time. Right. Hallowed, man. Come on.
Yeah, it was a great message, for real. If you missed it, you can catch up on our YouTube channel. But until we see you guys next time, we hope you know you matter to us, you matter to God, you matter to the world. Get us on socials anywhere you want, lifeisforliving.org. Until we see you next time, Jason's beard is bigger than yours.
Not true.